Now let us see few challenges of sentiment analysis. So sentiment analysis, it can vary based on individual perspectives. So if you take this subjectivity and tone, now let us see few challenges of sentiment analysis. Here the first one is subjectivity and tone. So sentiment analysis, it can vary based on individual perspectives or cultural contexts or personal experiences. So if you take this example, that is, I found the movie to be quite entertaining, but some of my friends thought it was boring. So from this, it is clear that here, in this example, sentiment expressed towards a movie is subjective and it can be interpreted differently by different individuals, right? So, if you watch any movie with your friends, you may like the movie, but your friends might feel it boring. So, here the sentiment expressed by the speaker, quite entertaining, reflects their personal experience and subjective opinion of the movie. This is influenced by factors such as speakers' taste in movies or preferences for certain genres and emotional response to the film's context. And the sentiment expressed by the speaker's friend. So here their friends felt that the movie was boring, right? So the perception of the movie's entertainment value, it may differ based on factors like individual preferences or expectations and mood while watching the movie. So different people, they may have different opinion. So that is subjectivity. And coming to the second one, tone. So it also struggles to detect the tone, emotional tone conveyed in the text. So if I take this example, I absolutely love spending time with my co-workers. So here, by seeing this term word, we feel that it is a positive sentiment, right? So it conveys positive sentiment, suggesting that speaker enjoys spending time with their co-workers. So in this case, if the speaker is known for their sarcasm, for example, if he is a kind of person uh, who always use sarcastic language, then the sentiment might be interpreted differently, right? So love means it will be interpreted in a opposite way. If the speaker frequently complains about their coworkers and if he use this statement, then what it means? So that means statement could be interpreted sarcastically. So we don't know whether the person is speaking, whether he really love to spend time with his coworkers or whether he's telling the same sentence in a sarcastic manner. And if you take this word absolutely, again, it gives positivity of the sentiment. So depending on the speaker's tone of voice or the context in which the statement is made, here the emphasis could be either uh, his correct emotion or it can be sarcastic emotion. So identifying the tone is also very important. And then context and polarity. So a statement which seems to be positive in one context, it may be interpreted as a negative in another context. So the sentiment of the word, it may vary based on the context in which it is used. Say, for example, if I take this sentence, the weather is hot. So in this case, by seeing this word hot, we cannot predict that it is a negative sentiment because it depends on the context. So here, if I use the same term during rainy season, then it may be considered as a positive sentiment, right? So the same word, it will be treated as a in a positive way if I use it in either during rainy season or winter season. Whereas if I use this sentence in a in summer season, then that should be treated as a negative sentiment. So based on the context in which we use this sentence, we need to find out the polarity, or we need to identify whether that is a positive one or negative one. Next one is polarity. Polarity challenge refers to determining overall sentiment polarity, like positive, negative, or neutral from a piece of text. So if you take this example, the hotel room was spacious and clean, but the service was slow and food was mediocre. So in this sentiment, the text it actually contains positive sentiment towards certain aspects of the hotel. Like we are telling that the hotel room is spacious, and so we are telling that it is spacious and we are telling that it is clean, right? So based on these aspects, we can identify that as a positive sentiment. And then the text also expresses negative sentiment towards other aspects. Like we are telling that the service was slow and food was mediocre. So here, these attributes, they actually associated with negative sentiments, or they are telling dissatisfaction or disappointment from the speaker. And coming to the third case, irony and sarcasm. So again, if I say something in an opposite way, then they comes under irony statements, right? So I assume that today the weather is very uh, assume that the weather is not good, it is sunny. And if I use the statement, what a beautiful day, then obviously that means I'm telling something in an opposite way to the current scenario. So this is a negative sentiment. But by saying this word beautiful, machine identifies that as a positive sentiment, even though it was expressed in an opposite way. And the fourth one is comparisons. So sentiment analysis model, it needs to capture the sentiment expressed towards various aspects. So if you take this comparison, I'm telling that the new smartphone is faster than the old one, but its battery life is disappointing. So here, sentiment analysis should capture sentiment expressed towards both the new phone as well as old phone. So it should consider attributes like speed and battery life, and it needs to compare. So the new phone is smarter, the new smartphone is faster than the old one. It expresses the positive sentiment towards a new phone, right? Whereas if I say its battery life is disappointing, it always expresses the negative sentiment towards a new smartphone's battery life, which includes disappointment from the customer with this aspect. And also comparison, here the sentiment analysis model, it should understand the comparative relationship between two smartphones and correctly attribute the positive sentiment to the faster speed of the new smartphone and negative sentiment towards disappointing battery life. So for this word faster, it should give positive sentiment, whereas for this battery life, it should consider negative sentiment. And the next one is neutral statements. So sometimes identifying neutral, so which statement should be considered as neutral, is also a challenge. Okay, so if you take this example, the weather forecast for tomorrow predicts partly cloudy skies with a chance of showers in the afternoon. So in this case, the text, it actually does not contain any emotion, right? So there is no emotion in this. Instead, it just conveys factual information about the weather forecast. So statement, it describes the weather conditions for tomorrow, focusing on details like partly cloudy skies and chance of showers in the afternoon. So there is no indication of any personal feelings or opinions about the weather. And understanding the context is very important for accurately identifying neutral sentiment. So because the text is likely extracted from a weather forecast report or a conversation about upcoming weather conditions. So where the primary purpose is to convey information rather than expressing sentiment. So here, while the text may appear neutral on the surface, there could be some interpretations that influence sentiment analysis. So if I say that this phrase, if I take the phrase chance of showers, it could be slightly negative by individuals who dislike rainy weather, but it could be considered as a neutral statement in the context of weather forecast. So if you, so the second part, like chance of showers in the afternoon. So there might be two polarities. So it is indicated as a negative polarity by the individuals who dislike rainy weather, whereas it is a neutral statement in the context of weather forecast.